My name is Hobbsy and welcome to the Happiness Fighters Army, where we're all about fighting for happiness against the darkness of mental health, physical health, and life and the big bad world and negativity right now. Okay, before I start the video, I just want to say that this channel will be about two things. One, anything that helps me fight for my happiness, my dreams, just makes me feel stronger and happier in my life as a founder and member of the Happiness Fighters Army. Two, this channel will also be about WWE wrestling and wrestling in general, because it's something that brings me happiness and joy, and I can talk about it for days on end, and I found my people. So if you do not like WWE wrestling and want to unsubscribe from this channel, I won't have a problem with it, and I will understand. Now that we've got that out of the way, I want to talk about WWE's 2024 draft, which is in a couple of days. I'm filming this on the 25th of April, so it's a couple of days from when I'm filming this, and I'm excited. I think it's about time we just shake up the division a bit and move people that aren't doing so well on one brand to another brand, and so forth. So I want to also iterate that some of the people that I'm going to be talking about might be let go after I've posted this video, because I know WWE is doing their spring cleaning of their roster, and we've lost people like Jinder Mahal, Xia Li, and the latest is Cameron Grimes, aka as I like to call him, Grimy, and I reckon he would have got a really great run if he was given a shot. So, but it's WWE's loss. They can go to any other wrestling brand, AEW, TNA, and maybe get their big chance there that they didn't get in WWE. Now let's go over the rules for the draft, shall we? Because we've got the rules. Now the first rule is all the champions bar the Kabuki Warriors, the women's tag team champions, are exempt from the draft. Basically saying that Cody's going to stay champion on SmackDown, new World Women's Champion, the Man, and fellow Happiness Fighter member Becky Lynch will be staying on Raw, and so forth, because it makes sense. Why have them swap belts when they've just won it all? I really didn't like that when they did that. I feel like they were sort of screwed over a little bit. They didn't even get to have that title run with that championship, so I'm liking this rule. I just don't like how they've said the Kabuki Warriors are the only ones that might be eligible in this draft being as champions, even though I understand it because they can go through any brand as champions, but they've said that if they do lose the belts, then whatever brand they're drafted to, say they're drafted to Raw, they'll go to Raw after losing the championship. And as a woman, I'm a little bit pissed because it's only the men's aren't doing this because they don't have this problem. I feel like in the women's division we need more belts for the women to go after. Now the women's division is growing. For example, we could have a World Women's Tag Team Championship and a WWE Women's Tag Team Championship belts like they did with the men's. You could have a US Women's Championship belt, an Intercontinental Women's Championship belt. I know NXT's just announced that they are having a North American Women's Championship belt, but I feel like the women's division need more belts, so then they can go after them and be champions and have the lesser known women or the women that are near the bottom of the roster in status elevate in their division. I just really want to see more belts for the women's division, basically. Now, the second rule is that SmackDown will be getting 4 rounds of 4, so in total there'll be 16 picks for SmackDown. Raw will get 6 rounds of 4, which means 24 picks in total, because Raw is longer. I understand. I wish the shows were evenly time amount. It would make it more even, and you could have more talent shine, but sorry, I'm just going on my notes. All draft results and picks after the draft will take in effect from May 6th, which is the Monday Night Raw after Backlash, which makes sense because you don't really want like challenges to go to a different brand and it's too confusing that way, so that makes sense. And yeah, I don't know about how injured people, if they're eligible or not, the ones on the injured list, but I'm just going to go from the list that has been put up on the internet for people that are eligible for the draft in 2024. And so I'm going to go Raw, then SmackDown, then I'm going to do my NXT picks of people that from NXT that can be brought up to Raw or SmackDown. And yeah, so with that, let's get on with it. Let's see who I think is going to be changing brands or not. Now we got Monday Night Raw, we got DIY. Now I think, and I don't want to say this because I'm really loving DIY at the moment. After what happened on Monday Night Raw, I think DIY is going to be split. I reckon, even if it's just for a little while, I reckon maybe Ciampa might go to SmackDown and Johnny stays on Raw. But I really hope they don't split DIY up because I'm really loving DIY at the moment. And I really wish them and Awesome Truth would form like a fraction. Like DX, I could see it. They could be called Regeneration X or Generation DIY or something like that. And it would totally work right now because I feel like that's what's missing from WWE a little bit. Some comical fraction like DX. Yeah, that might just be the DX fan of me. So Apollo Crews, I think he might. I don't know. We haven't seen much Apollo Crews. I'm gonna go. I reckon he might go back down to NXT. Braun Strowman. Now he's been out for a while, and I could see him working with Ricochet again. So I'm gonna say he's gonna go to Raw. Bronson Reed definitely gonna stay on Raw, I reckon. Candice and Indy, I don't think they're going to split these guys up. I think they're going to be a really great heel fraction for the women's tag team division. And I'm going to say they're both going to go to SmackDown. Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. Now, I reckon they'll also go to SmackDown as well, seeing that they're not getting the limelight on Raw as well. And also, I want to say, wherever these two go, Sonya Deville's going to go to that same brand. So Sonya Deville could go to SmackDown. Because I can just see this, the leading up to like Chelsea Green and Piper Niven like being strong, being a great tag team, and then all of a sudden Sonya Deville comes back and takes out Piper Niven. It could happen to Clash of Castle. There you go, Clash of Castle, Piper Niven versus Sonya Deville, I reckon. And the whole feud will be over. You replace me as Chelsea's tag team partner. And this will be a great babyface turn for Sonya Deville too. I just really want Sonya Deville back. I miss her. The Creed brothers, I reckon they're going to stay more. Dakota Kai, Io, and the Kabuki Warriors, aka Damage Control. I think just because maybe they want to get away from Bayley and give Bayley more of a different opponent, I'm going to say they're all going to go to Raw. Drew McIntyre, well, he's wherever CM Punk is going, he's going to be on that same brand. So, I reckon both those two will stay on Raw. Final Testament, I reckon, might go down to NXT for a while to build up their status. Who else? Da Vinci, the bald one from Imperium. I think he's gonna go to SmackDown, and Ludwig Kaiser will go to Sam Raw with Gunther. I think they're gonna split them up for a while. If not, they're going to split them up and have them on the same brand and have them rival. Because what's coming up? Bash in Berlin. Yeah, Imperium. That's what I said. Yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. I reckon they're both going to stay. I think they're going to go Imperium. All the members of Imperium are going to go to SmackDown, but they're going to be split, and it's going to be Lucic, Kaiser, and Gunther versus Giovanni, I think. Now, Jade Cargill, I don't see her being on Raw. I see her staying on SmackDown, I think. Yep. Now, Judgment Day. That's interesting. I think they're all going to stay together, but they're going to make it out like they're splitting up for a while. At least while Mummy, aka Rhea Ripley, is away. I think the fraction cracks are going to be like that, but then when Rhea comes back, she'll be like, what the hell happened? And yeah. That sort of stuff. But if they do fraction the Judgment Day, I see JD McDowell and Dom are the ones that are going to go out. And then it's just going to go back to Rhea, Priest, and Finn again. Maybe Dirty Dom in there, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. But they're all going to, I reckon. Let's see. We could. No, they're all going to have to stay on Raw because Priest. Yeah, they're all going to have to stay on Raw. Cadence and Katana, I reckon, will stay on Raw. Kevin Owens, I could see him moving to Raw. I could. Yeah. He moves to Raw, teams up with Sammy again, maybe to take on Chad Gable and Bronson Reed, maybe. Alpha Cammy, something like that. Elf and Tasma. I finally learned how to say that name properly. With Santos Escobar, Angel, Berto, and Electra Lopez. I feel like we could have them on Raw and have them feuding with the Judgment Day. It could work. And also Andreas on Raw, you could have them feuding with him as well. LWO, I reckon, is going to stay on SmackDown. And that's like Rey Mysterio, Kalisto, Dragon Lee, Cruz Del Toro, Joaquin Wilde, and Zelina Vega, I reckon, all going to stay on SmackDown. Naomi, I reckon Naomi's going to go to Raw and team up with Cadence and Katana and have that glow feel. I reckon that would totally work. Her being a mentor sort of role, yeah. Natty, well, I think Natty's going to go to NXT. And this isn't because she needs to. I think she's going to elevate the NXT division, especially with her match against Electra Lopez this week in NXT Underground match with Carmen and Shayna Baszler at ringside being their mentors. I'm all for it. I can't wait to watch this match. I was invested already when it was just Electra Lopez and Natalia. I call Natalia Natty, it's just easier. But then when Shayna Baszler was announced as Lola Vice's trainer, I was like, yeah, this match is going to be one of those historic great women's matches. New Catch Republic with Pete Dunne and Tyler Bates. I think they're going to stay on SmackDown. New Day's definitely going to stay on Raw. Pretty Deadly with Elton Prince and Kid Wilson. I think we could see them on Raw. And we could see them feuding with the New Day, I reckon. Shinsuke's definitely gonna, I think, need to go to SmackDown just to elevate his, make him shine, get out, because there's too many top talents on Raw. Tegan Knox, I think she was either going to be on SmackDown or NXT, one of those two. The Pride, or as I like to call them, the Almighties, with Bobby Lashley, the Street Profits, and B-Fab, definitely going to stay on SmackDown. And lastly, Tiffany Stratton is definitely going to stay on SmackDown, I think. Yeah. So they're all the names on the list that are people eligible for the Monday available draft pool. So we'll have to see if that happens. Now, I could be wrong with some of these. This is just who I think should be there, but let's see. Now, we got the Friday Night SmackDown draft pool. Now, the first one is AJ Styles, which I think AJ Styles is definitely going to stay on SmackDown. Next one is Amber Fire and Isla Dawn, which reminds me of Rowena from Supernatural. I'll put a photo of who I'm talking about. These two remind me of her if she was a wrestler. I don't know why, don't know how. And I think these two need to shine a little bit more, so I reckon they're going to go to Raw. Alpha Academy, well, I reckon they're going to go to SmackDown. But I reckon Chad's going to stay on Raw. I think after what happened Monday, they're just going to be like, no, you don't need to treat us like this to get us to work better. And yeah, they're just going to have that big rift. When this segment was going on this week, I was like, slap her, Maxine! Slap her! So yeah, so Chad's going to stay on Raw. Otis, Tozawa, and Maxine Debris are going to go to SmackDown in my eyes. I think they'll shine better there. Andrea's going to stay on Raw. Bianca Belair's definitely going to stay on SmackDown with Jade Cargill, and they're going to become the team that I like to call them Storm EST, and they're going to become the new Women's Tag Team Championship, or champions, maybe after Backlash. Maybe they have a match at Backlash for the titles and they win it. I can see that. Bond Breaker's definitely going to stay on SmackDown. Cedric Alexander and ST3 Adonis will probably go back down to NXT because we haven't seen much of them. Now, Jimmy and Jey Uso, I really want Jey to lose at Backlash to Priest because then he could be drafted back to SmackDown, and then you could have him, Jimmy, and Roman take on Solo and MFT. Tamango Tonga. I can't say his name without so I'm just going to say Tonga. And it would be a really great rivalry between the bloodlines, like fraction thing. And you could get the elders in on this and be like, they want Solo as the new chief because now Roman lost to Cody. I think that's what's going to happen. But that's what I'm hoping, and I think that's where they need to go. I know people like main event Jey Uso needs to be main event and all that, but this would be a really great way because they could have this moment where, especially with Jimmy being injured, they could have, when Jimmy does return, have that moment where he's like, Jay's like, you need me back, fine. But if they're trying to separate him from Jimmy, I think he'll stay on Raw. So it's just depending where they want to go with this one. And Jimmy is definitely going to stay on SmackDown. LA Knight, SmackDown. Liv Morgan definitely on Raw. And she's definitely probably going to go after Becky belt now with what happened in the Women's Battle Royal match. That was awesome on Monday Night Raw. And so I think that's Becky's next opponent. Liv Morgan, it has to be. Nia Jax definitely on Raw as well. You can even put Nia Jax in this and have a triple threat match maybe. Randy Orton, I think he'll stay on SmackDown. Ricochet will definitely stay on Raw. Seth will definitely stay on Raw because I don't know if this is an official rule, but for me I see it as if you marry to someone you gotta sort of stay on the same brand. I don't know, and with Becky being on Raw, it just makes sense for them to have all of them on the same schedule. Shayna Baszler, like with Natty, could go down to NXT for a little bit, could be drafted there, bring up the division, but if not, I think I'm gonna say Raw. I think she's gonna stay on Raw. Now the bloodline with Roman Reigns, Solo, MFT, Tamango, Tonga, and Paul Heyman. Like I said, stay on SmackDown, have that feud split down the middle. The OC, I think Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, even Mia Chin, might be put down to NXT to just raise their status again. And lastly, Zoe Stark, which every time I see her wrestle in her outfit, all I want is those pants. I love those pants of Zoe Stark. I don't know what it is. And I think she's going to stay on Raw with Shayna, but I think she's got a big storyline coming up, especially with Money in the Bank being in Toronto, Canada. Who's from Toronto, Canada? Trish Stratus. I can see it. Trish Stratus getting revenge or payback for what Zoe did to Trish after the cage match between Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus last year. It would be a great way to start this storyline. You could have it starting at, say, Backlash. There's a triple threat women's tag team match. You got Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, Storm, EST, Shayna Baszler, and Zoe Stark, and the Kabuki Warriors in a match. And then all of a sudden, Trish comes out and costs Zoe and Shayna the tag team titles. So they go their separate ways. And then Zoe's like, you cost me a championship match. I want revenge, sort of thing. And it leads to Money in the Bank. Or, like, it could happen at Clash of the Castle as well. I just think between now and Money in the Bank, we're going to get that starting of that storyline. So, and if that's the case, I'm going Zoe Stark. I like Trish Stratus, I will admit, but Zoe's more of my type of fighter. So, yeah. Now, with that, that's all the people on the Friday Night SmackDown poll draw thing. Now, let's move on to NXT. Now, I've only been watching NXT for about 6-7 months, ever since Becky went down there to challenge Tiffany Stratton for the Women's Championship and won off her, and I've been watching ever since then. So I don't know the whole gist of NXT in that, but I want to say a couple of people that have grown on me and I think could go up to the main roster and where they could go. Now, I think the family of and members of... Okay, Joy, just delete that a little bit. Now, these people, I think, are ready for the main show. I might be wrong, but I think they're ready. And that is the family which members make up of Adria Rizzo, Tony Delandro, Channing Stacks, Lorenzo, and Luca Cruzfendo. Sorry if I mispronounce your names. I have a really hard time pronouncing some WWE wrestlers' names. But basically, the Don of NXT and the family, I could see them being a real great fraction. I think I'm leaning more towards Raw than being on as their first main roster show. And you could set up really great matches with the Don and that. And someone that loves Mafia storylines in anything and loves like the Dons and the Mafia and all that. I just really want this on the main show, and I reckon it would work. You could get bigger production storylines as well. Also, I think Baron Corbin will go to SmackDown to be with Braun Baker, and you could either have them rival against each other or become the wolf dogs like they are in NXT. I think the wolf dog thing would work so much better. But I get if they're trying to make Bron Breakker a big name, sort of like Brock Lesnar, Rick Stein type of character. But I just think Baron Corbin needs to be brought up to SmackDown to have that rivalry with Bron Breakker, even though if it's only for a couple of months. Blair Davenport, I think, will go wherever Dakota Kai is. And I think I said her to go to Raw. So I think she'll go to Raw, and then we'll get this rivalry between Blair Davenport and Dakota Kai, because they're both sort of from New Zealand area. Well, Dakota Kai is, but Blair Davenport wrestled in New Zealand, I think. Don't quote me on this, but that would be a really great storyline. Camilla Hayes, which he was brought up to SmackDown for a while. I think he'll go to SmackDown. Now, I don't know if Cora Jade is in WWE still or not, because we haven't seen it for a while. But I think she could go to SmackDown and work. Gigi Dolan is definitely going to go to Raw, and she's going to team with Liv Morgan. I don't know why, don't know how, but Gigi Dolan reminds me of Liv Morgan so much when she first started. And you could do like a little mentorship storyline between these two. I really want to see just Liv Morgan and Gigi Dolan teaming together and even becoming tag team champions. That would be awesome. Definitely Lyra Valkyria is definitely main show ready. And I'm going to say she's going to go to Raw. And we're going to get maybe at Clash of the Castle, her versus Becky if she's still champion. If not, we're still going to get this match. I reckon with where Clash of the Castle is, being in Scotland, neighbouring country to Ireland, I think these two would just kill it in this match. And you can make this match like an Extreme Rules match as well. Or if not, have an Extreme Rules match between them later on. Because Lyra's won against Becky once, so Becky could win this one, and you could have a decided match later on. Like they did with Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes. I see this happening. Also with that, if they are having a Survivor Series War Games match, you could put Lyra and Tiffany on the team and Becky and Charlotte on the team, because they've both said that Lyra and Tiffany are the next Becky and Charlotte, so you never know. Could happen. Who else? Oh, Thea Hale. I love Thea Hale, and I reckon her and Duke Hudson, which is an Australian, by the way, so we're getting another Australian. I think they would both be drafted, and I reckon they're both going to go to SmackDown. I reckon. I just can see Thea Hale working on the main roster. She represents my energy and I'm just really like Thea Hale at the moment. So yeah, after her match against Jessie J, sorry. I'm still trying to remember names, so on this week I reckon she will be drafted, and she'll be drafted to SmackDown, I reckon. Yep. And lastly, the last person that I think is going to be drafted to Raw or SmackDown from NXT is Ilya Dragunov. After the match between him and Trick, and him losing the title to Trick Williams, which I was like, yes, whoop that Trick. I think Dragon Ilyanov is going to go to wherever I said Shinsuke is going to go to, which I think I said SmackDown. And then we're going to get this great rivalry between him and Shinsuke Nakamura. I reckon. I can see it. I can see them just duking it out. Yeah. So they're all the people from NXT that I think are going to be brought up. There could be more. So let me know in the comments who you think should be brought up from NXT and who should go where. Because this is just my opinion. I might be wrong. All I know is I can't wait to see where people land and see the new storylines and champions will get out of this. And with that, I'm going to end the video here. So if you want to follow me on a more day-to-day basis, I have a TikTok account and an Instagram account, and they're both called Hobbsy the Happiness Fighter. And I am getting better at doing those type of videos and sharing my opinions and that. I'm still new at this, but I'm getting better and I'm feeling more confident. So yeah, if you want to go follow me on my social, do it. If you don't, I'm not fast. I'm just doing this because it makes me happy. It makes me be able to be heard in this world. And yeah. And I hope you all are having a great day. If not, I'm sending you virtual hugs.